What's up? Welcome back to Truckin' with Rowan.metztli. So I just did like a half-hour video that I recorded, and I decided that it was confusing as fuck and I was just babbling, and I decided to redo it. I'm actually gonna cut it into 2 different videos because yeah, it was just too long and ridiculous, and like I was annoyed watching my own self. So alright. Right. So this video is This video is going to be me talking a little bit more about myself, like where I'm from, excuse me, classy. Ignore my super crooked ass glasses. I need to get new ones. They're actually broken. They've been like, super glued and shit. And yeah, they're just, I'm over the road for a week during the week when all these glasses places are open, so it's damn near impossible for me to, you know, make an appointment. Welcome to being a trucker, I guess. Right, so anyways, where I'm from. So, just a little background, like I was born in Virginia Beach. I was a Navy baby. My dad was in the Navy, and so he met my mom while he was in the Navy. They accidentally got pregnant with me, and they like married and had me in Virginia where he was stationed at the time. And yeah, so like a little bit about my parents. My real mom, I never knew her. My parents split up when I was 1. They got divorced, and my mom had gotten custody of me. My dad was doing, I don't know, what the fuck ever. And she actually lost custody of me when I was 2. I'm not gonna really get into that. And so then my dad got custody, like full custody of me from 2 up until, you know, I was 18. But my mom was just never around. They said I'm not gonna go too deep into it, but she wasn't there, and she was a little bit of an unstable person herself, and she had her own battles and whatnot. She actually passed away when I was 12 years old. I didn't find out until I was 13, because my dad, she actually never paid for child support, and my dad, I guess, went to go after her again when I was 13, you know, through the courts for child support, you know, try and find her and stuff. And then we ended up getting paperwork in the mail saying, oh, well, she's actually deceased. So yeah, that was fun, because obviously I wanted to like at least meet her. And I mean, it is what it is. Like, I think I've always had very little resentment towards my mother, because as I got older I learned more about her, and I knew that she had her own demons, and I was probably better off not being around her too much. She was a beautiful woman. She could sing and play instruments, and the woman, she didn't have, from what I know, a great amount of book smarts, but she was incredibly street smart. You know, she could be on one coast, you know, like the West Coast, and get herself all the way to the East Coast with no money and no source of her own travel. She would get there one way or another. Like, the woman could do it. And she went through a lot of things when she was a kid, and then she lost her mom when she was, I think, 15, and that really messed her up. And so I've always tried to give her the benefit of the doubt, because, you know, I got one half of my family that doesn't really have very good things to say about her, and then I have my other half of the family, you know, her half, you know, like my uncles and my grandfather and grandmother, you know, like my step grandmother, but she's my grandma, like worship the heck out of her, you know. So it is what it is type of thing. For a lot of time I was bothered by it, because I didn't know too much about her. My dad didn't really talk too much about her, so I kind of felt like this part of me was missing. But I got more pieces to the puzzles as the years went on, and at this point, being 23, 24 tomorrow, a grown woman, having children of my own, and knowing the things that I do know, I'm become very indifferent. I don't hate her. I'm not upset with her. Like, she died because she had diabetes, and from what I know, like, she went home one night, she didn't take her meds, and I think she went into a diabetic shock or a diabetic coma or something. I don't know. She passed away for medical reasons, and it's really unfortunate because she was young, and obviously I didn't get to meet her. Of all 3 of her daughters, I was the only one that has pretty much zero memory of her, because I have 3 half sisters, but 2 of them were also her daughters. But whatever, I got over that a long time ago. So I mean, she's still in my heart, and obviously I care about her. My tattoo right here actually is her date of birth and her date of death in Roman numerals. So she's still my mom. I mean, I guess I wouldn't be here with she hadn't, you know, like, grown me in her uterus and stuff. So thanks, Mom, if you're watching over me. Like, I hope you're proud of me and stuff. So yeah, my dad got custody when I was 2, and I grew up with him, unfortunately. That's a really, really sensitive topic. I actually cut off contact with my dad and my stepmom a little over a year ago. It was March of last year, March 2018, for various reasons. He just wasn't, he wasn't a good guy. He did some things wrong, and I suffered because of it. But I persevered through it. I'm still working through a lot of issues, and trucking has definitely been surfaced a lot of internal feelings about me and how I value and view myself, and, you know, all the hard work I went through to get my CDL, and then, like, failing my first CDL test, and, like, that really took an effect on my self-worth. Like, I felt like I owed it to myself to get this CDL, to pursue this career, to give my children a good life, to give them better than what I got. You know what I mean? Like, I was fed. I had a roof over my head. My parents always financially, and, you know, they took care of the basic necessities, but there were some other things that they severely failed at, and things that they did that impacted me in a way that I'll carry forever. But my advice from me to you, my viewer, and the things that you've gone through, the trauma you've faced, and the battles you have within yourself, you know, going and getting your CDL, and anything that has to do with trucking, and, you know, when you make mistakes or fail at something, don't give up. There's been so many times that I felt I was not good enough, like I was not worthy of this profession, and the only thing that kept me going, honestly, was my children, my stepson and my toddler. Like, everything that I've done to everything I've done to get to this point has been for them and for my husband, because they deserve a good life, and I couldn't afford to fail them. And I don't think I could live with myself if I failed them, because they're really all I've got. I have a few family members that thankfully have been there to support me. Shout out to my Aunt Laura, my Uncle John, both of my sisters, Eva and Kelsey, my nephews, my cousin Heather, and a few others, Kevin and Shirley. Like, they're not here by my side because they live far away, but they have been supportive where my parents have been absent in regards to just my life and pursuing this career and just growing as a person. Like, you know, they gave me faith in myself, and I don't want to, like, cry or anything, but, like, pretty special, important people. And when you go and to become a trucker, or you are a trucker, like, one of the most important things that you have is a support system. Like, yes, I have my husband, and I have my kids, and I have friends, but it's important to have that foundation, however it is that you decide to create it. Maybe your husband and your kids, or your wife and your kids, or whoever are enough. Or maybe you yourself are enough. Me, I really, being so freshly cut off from my parents, still very raw, the wound is still very fresh, and so that support from those other family members was very, very important to me succeeding. So yeah, thank you guys. You know, if you're watching this video, like, I couldn't have done it without you guys. Even though, you know, you were there next to me, I didn't necessarily like one-on-one talk to you guys about it all the time, but just you being there was, you know, enough. So yeah, there's just a little bit about me, and the reason why I decided to go into this industry was because, so Roehl, the company I work for, actually popped up an ad on Facebook where they paid for you to get your CDL. They pay you like, what, $500 a week. Don't forget about taxes, by the way. Fuck. Jesus, bad. Of course, I stopped recording, such a bitch. But the Roehl pays for your CDL, and so I kind of looked into it. I looked into some other companies to see, because I knew nothing about trucking. Nothing. I knew nothing about, like, you hear about Swift and Schneider and, like, you know, the Swift jokes and everything, which I'm a professional, so I'm not gonna make any jokes because us Roehl employees don't do that. But I was looking at, like, safety record and success records and what companies were good for beginners and how good their schooling was, and Roehl definitely was towards the top. And so that is the reason why I chose Roehl, was simply because it was one of the best places to start out and get your CDL and enter into the trucking industry. It's a really good beginner company, and whether you decide to grow with them or not, it's up to you. I don't plan on leaving anytime soon. I feel like I got blessed with a very good route, and I have a phenomenal fleet manager. Bob, if you're watching this, you're a G. Like, you're great. I love you. And their training program is very thorough. I felt like, even though my first trainer was not exactly phenomenal or anything, Roehl definitely made sure to compromise for what it is that I had missed. And for that, I'm very grateful. Like, they took my training seriously, and they took my success serious, and they wanted me to succeed. They could have just been like, oh, well, you know what, you can just leave the company because you didn't learn what you needed to in time, and you now owe us $7,000. Well, no. They knew that I wanted to work hard, I wanted to do this, I wanted to get this, I wanted to go solo, get my own truck, get through the training, and they made sure that that happened. So yeah, Roehl popped up on my Facebook. Looked into them, chose them. I decided to become a trucker because I am the breadwinner of the house. I make the money. I pay the bills. My husband was actually working for a pretty big company around this area, and he ended up leaving his job involuntarily. And for a while, his job had really been getting to him, because when he first got hired onto that company, I'm not going to say which company, but he was hired for a specific thing that he wanted to do, that he really enjoyed doing and was very good at it. But because of the season and the layoffs, luckily he didn't get laid off, but he got put into a different department or a different position, where, one, he didn't enjoy it, and he also got a pretty big pay cut. Like, there was a few months or a year or whatever where we were living with his parents, and money was tight, and it wasn't a very good situation, and it really chewed away at him, and he was missing time because, you know, our son was still very much a baby at the time. You know, he was like, you know, newborn to 8 months old, and, you know, he was falling a bit behind on our oldest homeschooling, because he takes care of certain subjects that I don't touch because I don't feel like I could teach them, like math and science. And so that was stressing him out, and he decided, yeah, fuck this. And so when he involuntarily left his job, he was immediately obviously going to start looking for a new job because you can't just not work. And I told him, no, you're going to be a stay-at-home dad. I will find a job and I will work full-time. And that's what I did. I was working at Family Dollar as a cashier, just part-time for something to do because I was a stay-at-home mom and it was kind of driving me nuts. And then after I decided I was going to take on full-time work, well, Family Dollar didn't have a full-time position open at the time. So I got a part-time job with CapTel, which is it's captioned telephone. I would caption phone calls for the deaf and hard of hearing. So that was pretty cool. I did that for a little while, and then an assistant management position opened up with Family Dollar, and I decided to take that because it was offered to me. And so I did that for a while, full-time. I left CapTel, and I was just full-time at Family Dollar. And, I made ish enough money to pay my bills, kind of. But, we were still on assistance and stuff, and I felt like I wasn't providing a life for my children that I felt they deserved. And I actually ended up leaving Family Dollar, and I was a merchandiser for a while for Acosta, which, if you know anything about merchandising, my boss was the bee's knees. Acosta is a great company, but the work in itself I hated it. I would take like 10 zillion pictures a day. I was a representative at Walmart. I would take care of certain products like Hostess, P&G, like different clients that we have. I would, clean up the shelves with that product. I would get rid of expired stuff. I had to take pictures of this. I have pictures of that, like upwards of like 300 pictures a day. And I had to put up, like signs and stuff, and I had to like put stickers and coupons on product. It was just a really tedious job, and it was the same shit every day, and I fucking hated it. I hated it so much, and I was making worse money doing that than I was at Family Dollar. So luckily it was around tax season, and I have 2 kids. Wisconsin tax credit is, and I decided, fuck this. Excuse me, I swear a lot. Screw this. I need to find a new job. And then that's when I applied to Roehl. I kind of went, as I often described it, balls deep, full-fledged. Didn't know what a fifth wheel was, didn't know what glad hands were, didn't know a lick about semis. Sliding tandems, what the fuck is that? I didn't fucking know. But I studied the material. I memorized like the terms and the definitions and like PSI numbers and everything, and got my permit. And then I headed to Marshfield. Had no idea what I was getting myself into, but I just kind of, I didn't think too hard about it because I knew I needed this, and I knew my family needed this. And if I think too hard about things, that's when I start to fuck up. And here I am. I got my CDL, Class A, unrestricted, and I can drive a semi. I mean, if you, I don't want to say anybody and everybody can drive a tractor and trailer, but if you are a good driver, if you're aware, you're observant, and you're always open to learning and to mastering your skills and refining those skills over the years, and you like to drive and you like to be on the road a lot and you like to see new things, well then trucking might just be the career for you. And I'm not a very stagnant person, so being in one place for too long actually is not good for me. Since I turned 18, and I'm 24 tomorrow, so that's 6 years, I have moved well over 20 times, all over the place. Kentucky, the Fox Valley, all different places, like in like Watertown, and I've been all over the place. I've traveled over to Kansas to see my sister. I've driven around the Midwest in my car. I can't even tell you how many times. So yeah, I definitely felt trucking might be something that I could do. I always had it in the back of my mind, but I've also always been terrified of like motorcycles, giant vehicles, just other drivers, especially in general. I've never been in a full-on accident. I mean, I kind of dented my car door this last winter, but let's just not talk about that. I've never got a speeding ticket. I've never gotten pulled over for anything that wasn't minor. Like, my driving record is as clean as can be. And you need to have a clean driving record for 3 years before you can get your permit, at least here in Wisconsin. And I was on the phone with the lady, and I had just barely, like, I was talking to her in, like, February, I think. I had just barely passed my 3-year mark of even having my driver's license at all. I got my driver's license when I was 20. And she goes in to check, like, my driving record to make sure that it's clean and that I am eligible to, you know, get my CDL and be with Roehl. And, you know, she's like, okay, yeah, I gotta check it, because I told her, I'm like, there's nothing on there, maybe a parking ticket, I don't know if that's gonna show up, I bet I paid it. And she's kind of was like uneasy, weird, vaguely, like people have told her, oh, there's nothing on there, and then there was stuff on there, and she brings it up and she's like, oh, there is absolutely fucking nothing on your record. And I was like, yeah, I'm a good girl. So yeah. Oh yeah, that's the other thing. If you want to be a truck driver, try to have at least a decent driving record. If you have like a whole bunch of like citations, speeding tickets, accidents, things like that, yeah, I don't think Roehl's gonna take you on, or hopefully any other company, because you've got some shit to work on. But yeah, so I became a truck driver to give my 2 children, my sons and my husband and myself, a better life. And it was the hardest thing that I have ever gone through, because as much, you know, as you know, learning how to drive a tractor and trailer is stressful, I was also battling a lot of internal battles with myself, with my family situation, and with, you know, constant feeling of like helplessness and failure, and just feeling like I couldn't do it, questioning if I could do it. And you know, there were some points where I was really scared and ready to start looking for jobs, like at Walmart or retail, because I'm good with retail, or good at it. I don't want to say I'm good with it. Fucking hate retail. Because I just felt like I wasn't gonna make it through. Not because, you know, I would get kicked out. I mean, that was definitely a fear, you know, if you fuck up bad enough. Or if you don't catch on quick enough, you know, Roehl will let you go. But just feeling like I myself just couldn't do it anymore. Couldn't deal with the stress. Couldn't deal with being so constantly overwhelmed and so constantly scared that I was going to fail my test. I was going to fail at this and fail at that, and not be able to proceed or pursue this career any longer, and then wondering, what the fuck do I do next? Excuse my language. So I'm an example, a prime example of don't give up on yourself. I'm an extremely self-deprecating person, and I don't think very highly of myself or of my skills or my capabilities in all aspects, not just driving. And I get in my head a lot because of it, and that's something that I have had to work very hard on, because when you're driving truck, you can't be getting in your head like that all the time. You need to be with reality. You need to be grounded. You need to be able to assess your situation and act appropriately and in a timely fashion, because if you're stuck in the middle of the road, obviously you cannot stay there. You need to get out of traffic. You know, it's dangerous. You know, anything like that. You need to be able to act on a dime in a way that's not going to be dangerous, and, you know, it's not going to hurt you or anybody else, and that is also safe and effective. So, I mean, if I can do it, I'm sure you can do it, because I am the queen of panicking. But with driving truck, surprisingly, I keep it together for the most part, and I know exactly what I need to do when I don't know what to do, which is also extremely important. So, but yeah, that's why I decided to become a truck driver. It's a little bit about myself, where I'm from, a little bit of my family background, and why I do what I do. So leave down in the comments below why you decided to become a truck driver or want to become a truck driver. And yeah, I would love to hear from you guys. So I don't need any like weird sympathetic comments or anything. Like, I just wanted to get on more of a personal level with my viewers, and because, you know, we're all human at the end of the day, and I wanted you to understand that it's okay to, like, you know, be human and have feelings, and, you know, like, that's okay. Just don't let it define you, don't let it control you, and don't let it destroy you. So, and again, I'm sorry for all my swearing. So yeah, subscribe, comment, like, let me know what you thought of this video, let me know why you decided to become a truck driver, maybe a little bit of your background if you want to share that too. I'm always interested from hearing from my viewers. So thanks guys, and now I'm gonna go ahead and make that other video. Bye.